Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy the Handmade Homeschooler, and today is another book review video. And this is, of course, a whole wrap-up of what I read in the month of January. Now I had plans and I even posted it on Instagram because I don't know, I guess I was feeling very confident that day. Of just a couple of books that I was really wanting to read. Things just really didn't go according to that plan. But I still read some really great books. So I think I'm just one of those people that I read by my mood, I guess. I think that's what it is. Like one day I have these great laid out plans, like, yeah, I'm gonna read these books. And then day by day, what I actually read kind of just depends on what I'm doing, the medium that I'm using, and my mood. So it didn't exactly happen the way that I planned it out, but it's okay because I got a couple of great books. So some of these books, actually most of these books are actually on my Kindle and not paperback books, which I am trying to read more physical books. I really am. It's a spacing issue in my house. So, you know, the Kindle is kind of where it's at for me at the moment. Plus I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription and I get so many free books that way that it's also a money thing. It's not just space, it's really like money. Okay, so the first book that I read, and I finally finished it, I think I started it in December, but I got my kids the audiobook series of The Lord of the Rings, and it's my turn to listen to it. So I have them, they are on my Kindle. I got them through Audible, and it's the one that has Andy Serkis as the narrator. And I say that because it's more of like a performance of the entire series. And if you've watched the videos, excuse my age, if you have watched the movies from 2000s, like the early 2000s, they came out when I was in high school and in college. So if you've watched those movies, Andy Serkis does a great job of playing each character, and it's so uncanny at certain points that you're not sure if it's the actor from the movie or if it's Andy Serkis. Now, if you don't know, Andy Serkis plays Gollum in those movies, so the Gollum voice is just on point. But the rest of them are magnificent. Truly, truly. I already know who's speaking without even looking at a page because he does such a great job with the voices. And the way that he does the voices of the orcs is magnificent. I don't know how like a human does that with their voice and does so many different voices. It's amazing. So if you've ever struggled with reading Lord of the Rings, I will suggest to you, and I actually told this to my dentist because my dentist was having a really hard time getting through Lord of the Rings and not, nodding off during it. I told him, I was like, look, you got to get the actual audiobook with Andy Serkis narrating it because it's fantastic and it will not bore you. I promise you. So if you like the movies, wanted to try the book, there's my tip for you. So I'm giving 5 stars because it's The Lord of the Rings, and how can you not give 5 stars to The Lord of the Rings? So I finished the first book. I am just over halfway done with the second book. So I am in right now The Two Towers, which is also obviously going to get another 5-star from me, but I'm not finished with it yet, and I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so my first Christian fiction novel of the year was The Fur Trader's Lady, which is the first novel in a brand new series by my favorite author, Gabriel Meyer. Now, if you don't know, Gabriel Meyer is the author of the Timeless series, which is like my favorite series of all time. I absolutely love it. It's a time traveler series. I have so many videos on my channel about it. Go check that out. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I'm just like a huge mega fan of Gabriel Meyer books. So she is a Christian fiction author, and The Fur Trader's Lady is a brand new series of hers. I have some posts coming up on Instagram about it, but this one is all about the fur trading several hundred years ago. Amazing book. a just amazing book. Now, I do not recommend this one for younger readers. There is some steam, not spice, but there is some steam in this book between the two main characters, and this one is really cool. So you've got this young lady whose parents died, so she's an orphan, and she's being taken care of by a cousin, I believe, and he wants to marry her for her money, and he's quite abusive in multiple different fashions in this book. Again, nothing is overtly described or anything, but you do know what is going on with the situation, you know, just as an adult reader. So, you know, again, keep in mind for children. So she decides to run away to go meet a young man that she is friends with in the fur trade, and she has to have another man who is Stephen, the man she's trying to run away to. It's his friend. So this friend of his, who owes him a giant favor, is trying to travel with this young woman to meet them. And it is just the twists and turns. So she basically dresses up as a man, because women are not allowed in the fur trade. And while she's trying to go and meet Stephen, she is with this new man she's never met before, because he owes Stephen a favor. And she's dressing like a man, talking like a man, and pretending to be one of his workers. And she has inserted herself in this world, and it's imperative for her safety's sake that nobody finds out that she's a woman. And all the while, she's being pursued by her cousin, who is determined to track her down and marry her so he can get this inheritance. So it's a huge twist and turny type of book, and even all the way up to almost the very end, you're like, I just don't see how this is going to work out. But it's Gabriel Meyer, so I know that it will. And even if it doesn't work out the way that I want it, I know she will make it into something beautiful. So amazing book, 5 stars, of course, because I love Gabriel Meyer. So after that, I read a book by Mariah Chavis, I hope I said her name right, called Thorns of Winter. This one, I think I read it in like an hour. It was really short. It was a little novella, and I didn't know that. But the premise of the book was really, really good. And I want to read you the premise of the book so you know what I'm talking about. It says, William Rhodes has always known harsh winters. Every year, the beast holds someone captive in the forest castle, and the village chooses a warrior to save her. The girl survives, but the warrior always dies. This year, Will volunteered to be the warrior, but the night before he's supposed to defeat the beast, his betrothed traps him, refusing to let the curse take the boy she loves. Another victim is stolen, and it is Will's sister. Now both girls he loves most are held captive by the curse. He travels deep into the forest to face the monster, but the beast inside is nothing like he imagined. So this is a YA novella. It's really short. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Wing Feather Saga, like the premise of the Wing Feather Saga, because I think that's it. My son read it. I never actually read it, but that's what it sounded like. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I read it. It was really short. Again, it was really, really short. So I felt like things were like super rushed. I felt like this actually could have been dragged out for a big, long novel packed with all kinds of cool things. But I don't know if this is like the premise to another big book maybe she's releasing. I don't know, but it sounds like a really good book, if so. So I gave this one 4 stars just because it was so short, and I felt like everything was just so rushed. It was a whirlwind, but the story was actually really good. If you don't know, Kindle Unlimited has how-to books on there, which is kind of like one of my new favorite categories because I love learning new skills. And if you like learning new skills, Kindle Unlimited has a huge library of how-to books. And one of the things that I wanted to learn was crocheting, and I got several crochet books, and the one that I really liked was called How to Crochet, a Complete Guide for Absolute Beginners. This was really neat. It had a lot of pictures in it. It was really descriptive, it wasn't this huge, ginormous book, but there were patterns in the back too, which is great. So I got like a rundown of how it was supposed to be, and I actually just used like a pencil because I didn't have any crochet hooks at that point. I used a pencil to kind of help me figure out how to hold it, just like the book said, and kind of just like get a rundown of the absolute basic things that I wanted to know about crocheting. So this was a really great book. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The only thing that would have been better is if there would have been videos embedded in it, but it's a book, so. Now, the last book that I read is actually a book I finished last night. So technically this should probably go in the February one, but I'm putting it in the January books because I read most of it throughout January. And it is the Seaside Homecoming by Julie Klassen. This is the On Devonshire Shores series, and this is book number 3. And oh, it was just such a warm, cozy cup of tea. The whole series is just beautiful. It's very like Jane Austen-ish, and I really, really enjoyed visiting these characters again. I missed them. It is so hard reading a series when it's new. Like, it really is, because I have to wait so long in between each book, and I'm so very impatient. I'm the same way with K-dramas. Like, I refuse to watch K-dramas until all the episodes are loaded because I'm a binger. So I will sit there and binge it like 2 or 3 episodes a night after my kids go to bed, and I can't do that if I'm waiting a week between each episode. I'm a very impatient person. The Lord is working on me, okay? But it is so hard for me because I feel like I almost forget the characters, and that is what kind of happened, was because the last book that I read was last January, and I forgot some of the characters' stories. So luckily Julie does a great way of, she has a great way of writing kind of like a little refresher in the book on a lot of the characters, but at the same time, I don't remember a whole lot of the details. So, you know, the major people, the major players, of course, I remember them. The major storylines, I remember them. But like some of the husbands and like the love stories between some of the girls and their husbands, it's a little fuzzy in my brain. But overall, 5 stars. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's one that I would revisit if I just needed to like relax. If you just need a nice relaxing book for your brain, this is the series that you want. There's nothing improper in these books or anything like that. Now in this one, this is the only one that has a little bit of an improper line, but it was only for the times, okay? So, you know, you're talking early 1800s. The eldest sister of the entire family, she was disowned because she went off to elope with a man. Everything fell through, and now she's kind of dealing with being an outcast in her family and kind of just the whole reconciliation process behind all of that. So if I had teenage daughters, if they were older teenage daughters, I would give this to them, no problem at all whatsoever. Of course, use your own discretion. All right, that is my book load for January. February, I don't know what I'm gonna read. I finished this one last night, and I've been kind of sitting back trying to figure out what am I gonna read next. So I don't know. I don't know what is coming up for the rest of February. I know I'm going to finish this one, but it's on audio. So usually what I do is while I'm cooking in the evening or while I'm painting, because I paint a lot in the evenings, I will listen to Lord of the Rings in my AirPods while I am doing that. And it's just a great way to get in a book while I'm doing something else. So, but as far as physical books or Kindle books, I don't know what I'm going to do other than that. So I have some books I have to finish for school. I have to read A Scarlet Letter for high school literature coming up, so that will probably be in another video. I finished Macbeth and from Shakespeare, and now I'm moving on to A Scarlet Letter, so I gotta get that done. But other than that, I really don't know what else I'm going to be reading. We will have to wait and see. It'll be a surprise to me too. I will see you in the next video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.